Hello, guys. Welcome to Island Girl Talk. And today I will be speaking on genetic racism. Yes, guys, genetic racism. So, might ask, what is genetic racism? Well, we have been, as melanated people, we have been dealing with genetic racism all our lives. From the day I was pushed out into this world, I have been dealing with genetic racism. Why? Because of the color, the human in our skin, the human and melanin in our bloodline. So collectively, every four corners of this planet, melanated people, melanated beings, we have been dealing with racism. Not only do we deal with genetic racism, we also deal with spiritual racism. Now, one may ask, how do we deal with spiritual racism? Well, for those of you who are Christians, or those of you who follow religion, I will stick with religion. I will stick with the Christian faith, right? So with the Christian faith, because you are not born, well, let's just say you were born a Gentile, right? You are a Gentile. So therefore, you're not potent, godly person by birth. Or you're not the potency of what is godliness that God created, the people that God created. Let me say that, because for me, that sounds confusing. You are not the potent children of God by religion. So therefore, you are a Gentile. In the Torah, you are called a I forgot the name. I think Gora. In the Islamic faith, you are infidel. But again, I say I will stick with the Christian, right? So in the Christian faith, you have to come in through the blood of Christ to be a child of what is God. You have to come into Christ. Christ is the branch that brought you in. If it had not been for Christ, you Christians would not be into the children. You would not be part of the children of God. There would be no way you would be able to go to heaven, because without Christ, that is Christians. Because you are not spiritually, you are not a child of God. But basically what they're saying is that genetically, you're not a child of God. It's a lot of cover-up, guys, and it's a lot of misleading and misinformation that has been passed down from generations to generations. It is despicable, the things that has been done. Oh my gosh, it is, and not just despicable, it is questionable. The things that have been done to us. It is despicable and it is questionable, but for some reason, we don't question. We just take it because it's given to us by men that are called and were inspired to write by God. So we take it with no questions. Okay, so today I want to speak on genetic racism. And today, we as melanated beings, we have been dragged. We have been through we have been through. Now, one might say we, not you guys. Your ancestors were The slaves they brought over, they were okay, guys. I had a little interruption here, so I had to take that call. So yes, so we're speaking on genetic racism, and I was saying that we as melanated people, although we are the progenitors of what had happened to our ancestors, we were not the ones who physically went through the atrocities that our ancestors went through. But nevertheless, the stories are still here. The remnants of what was done to our ancestors are still here. There are people who's alive today, and they went through some of the brutish behaviors of and atrocities that was implemented upon our ancestors in America, in Africa. I remember growing up in Africa. There was still apartheid when I was growing up. Africans in Africa were not allowed to go and socialize with white people, or Caucasians, and do things in places. There was segregation. We grew up hearing about segregation. I grew up hearing about it at the time. For me as a young woman, a child growing up, it was just heartbreaking to see things like that. But we didn't have the power to make any changes. Thankfully, today, right, we have internet, we have television, we have WhatsApp, and things are in a snap. We can news are like today, we can also vocalize and transmit things today, because we have the internet, and we have microwave, right? We have microwave today, so everything is fast. And the reason I say everything is fast, or the reason I'm saying that everything is fast, is because the news also travel fast. So now anything that happens, whether it happened in America, China, England, you get it today, right now. You get it. So it is of no surprise that today we as Black melanated people, we are in the news again. We are always in the news, right? Whether we are in the news because they kill one of us, we're in the news because we were brutalized, we're in the news because we are brutalizing each other, we're in the news because somebody is taking Africans in some part of Africa as slaves. We are always in the news, guys. We are always in the news, no matter what part, what year. From the time I know myself, we melanated beings are always in the news, whether it's for good. Most times it's not for the good or the right reasons. Most times it's for the negative. Very rarely you see us in the news when there is something, that is great among us collectively. If there is one person, like the Kanye Wests and the Kyrie Irvings and the Shaqs and the Beyoncés and the Rihannas, you hear these things because guess what? That is how there's monetization behind that. So you have to hear about them for more people to fall in love, for more money to be made. But when there is something that does not that does not feed, them financially, you don't hear about it. You're not going to hear about it collectively. You will hear about the baby mama drama. You will hear about the Ray Ray who killed Tete. You will hear Ray Ray who slept with Pookie and Pookie brother. You will see these things on the platforms, because then the image here is to distort. It is to make the world see you as the dum-dums, that we too portray ourselves as, because a lot of the things, I will not sit here and say that everything that we do is a result of us being, ostracized and demonized and, going through. Some of it is. In fact, yes, I will agree. A lot of it is. Because if you're conditioned to a certain performance, then that's what you know. In your eyes, there's nothing wrong with the performance that you were doing. If you walk in a room, if you're the only melanated person that walked in a room and you walk into a group with a conversation, first thing they will ask you, oh, who are you? What do you do? Where do you work? It's kind of like, how much money do you make? Why are you here? They're feeling you out to see if you belong to the group. And even if you belong, you still have to, do the lingo. You still have to do, a particular speak a particular way, play, that role to fit in. And still that isn't not enough. But if you come in and you're like, yo, what's up? And please, and all this, and the group will look at you like, why are you here? They will not even give you the chance to come in and speak, because that group is conformed to a certain style and a certain way. They are used to a certain thing that they program that way, so you don't fit in. And so they will make you feel uncomfortable for you to leave, or they may probably escort you out because you don't fit into that group. You, on the other hand, will not feel there is a problem with who you are and what you're saying, because that's who you are. You were used to the that's how you vibe. Now, one might say, what's wrong with that? I am not here to speak on that, whether it's right or wrong. I'm here to speak on how we can have to open our eyes and find our medium to make the necessary changes that will elevate and bring us to full circle to where we should be as melanated people. We are, by beyond a reasonable doubt, the most underachieved on this planet. Not that we don't do things to achieve, not that we don't work as hard as everybody else. We do everything that everybody else do, and more. Actually, we work more. I can tell you that I'm a business owner. Sometimes I want to throw in the towel, because I'm like, why do I have to work this hard just for me to come full circle with, getting myself some financial gain. Now, okay, a Caucasian would have that business, and trust me, it would be different. It would be different. They would have to do and work as hard as I do. It will be different. Now, one may ask, why is it? Is it the Caucasian fault here? Is it my fault? It's not my fault, or it's their fault. It's the privilege they have. They have the privilege. They have privileges that is set for them, so that when they do things, it's like you walk through the door and all the doors open without anybody. Of course, somebody's opening the door, but it is easier for the doors to open. Whereas for me, who is a melanated woman, it's not that easy for me. There is a tape, there's a block. But again, this video is not about that. These conversations are specific, because when you're speaking on things like that, you will want to bring, I personally, when I'm speaking on something, I like to bring in some kind of how I say it, some support, something to support what I'm saying. So this is not about, let me go back to genetic racism, right? So what I wanted to speak on in regards to genetic racism is, let me put my glasses. I'm going to read something, and then it will be able to explain more on what I am, trying to speak on, right? So I have here, I'm going to change the name, because nowadays you can speak on certain things and you cannot mention certain names. I do need the YouTube, the YouTube platform, as well as I need Instagram, and I need Facebook, because as a business owner, I use it for my business. I wish I didn't have to be censored here. I wish I could speak out as clear and loud as I want to, but I also have to eat bread. Just like the Kanye Wests and the Irie Irvings, sometimes we gotta take a back seat, come again, bite our tongue, chicken tongue, just to say things that we don't offend people, which is very unfair though, because people say what they want to say, they do what they want to do, and there's no repercussions when it comes to them. But once it comes to us, listen, their knee gets on our neck, all right? And I feel like what's the revelation that is taking place now? We're in Revelation, guys, if you didn't know. And when I say revelations, one might say biblical revelations, but I'm not speaking biblical revelation. I'm speaking spiritual revelations. We are a spiritual people, and I don't denounce the Bible. Mind you, I'm not a Christian, but I do not denounce the Bible, and I'll tell you why. The reason why I don't denounce the Bible is because our ancestors it is written. It is written. Our ancestors were very, very intelligent people. They were very intelligent. They were scholars, to be exact. And so they wrote things. As things developed, they wrote. So don't think that our stories is not in the Bible. It is there. The trick in there is to not make you know that it is in there. So because if you know that it is in there, you will wake up from the brainwash that has been placed upon you. So therefore, you wouldn't know who you are. And so that is what brings me back to the genetic racism that we as melanated people are facing. And I will try to explain why we are going through the genetic racism. So I have here the origins of the word. The origins of the word, you know who, the J people, right? And the religion that they practice. The original name for the people who we now call the J name was Hebrews. Now, Kyrie even said he is a Hebrew. Right? He said he's a Hebrew. The word Hebrew in Hebrew, Avri, is first used in the Torah to describe Abraham in Genesis. The word is apparently derived from the name Eba, one of Abraham's ancestors. So the word is apparently derived. So that's the Hebrew name, right? The Hebrew name is derived from Abraham's ancestors, not the not the wish. The name Hebrew. Now there are some people many in Africa. They call Igbos, Hebrews, because keep in mind, Africa pronunciation of words, and most words that are taken from the root word, there may be a sound thing that is the closeness of the word, but Igbos, they are a group of people who practice Hebrew. They dress like the Wish people. Their religion may differ in some ways, but it's very similar. And they are called Igbos in Africa. They are in and around the apparatus. Remember I said in the last video, the Four Rivers, apparatus, Guyane, Payson. They are in and around that area, okay? So the word is apparently derived from the name Iba, or one of Abraham's ancestors. Another tradition teaches that the word came from the word Ever, which means the other side, referring to the fact that Abraham came from the other side of the apparatus, or referring to the fact Abraham was separated from the other nations morally and spiritually. So the apparatus, which is again the river, the four rivers, one of the four rivers. So they're saying that Abraham, which is the Hebrews, Abraham came from that territory around the four rivers where they claim Eden, the Garden of Eden is. Okay. Another name used for the people is children of Israel or Israelites, which refers to the fact that the people are descendants of Jacob, who was also called Israel. The word, which in Hebrew, Yahadi, is derived from the name Judah, which was the name of one of Jacob's sons. Judah was the ancestor of one of the tribes of Israel. So Judah came from one of the tribes. So there are 12 tribes, right? Keep that in mind, 12. So Judah came from one of the tribes. So therefore, there are 12 tribes that are supposed to be the seeds of Abraham, 12 of them. However, okay. Likewise, which was named after him. Likewise, the word Judaism literally means Judaism. That is the religion of Yahadim. So Judaism, that is the religion of the Yahadim. Originally, the term Yahadi referred specifically to members of the tribe of Judah. So the tribe of Judah specifically were Yahadi people, as distinguished from the other tribes of Israel. So they were distinguished. They were not the same. There's 12 tribes, but the Yahadi was different. They're not the same. However, after the death of King Solomon, the nation, keep that word, King Solomon. Remember that word, because I'll come back to King Solomon. The nation of Israel was split into two kingdoms, the kingdom of Judah and the kingdom of Israel. After that time, the word Yahadi could probably be used to describe anyone from the kingdom of Judah. So the Yahadi, which are the wish people, they are from the kingdom of Judah, right? Because it's split now. 12 tribes now split in two, okay? Which includes the tribes of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, as well as scattered settlements from other tribes. The most obvious biblical example of this usage is in Esther, where Mordecai is referred to as both a Yahadi and member of the tribe of Benjamin. In approximately 722 BCE, the kingdom of Israel was conquered by Assyria, and the 10 tribes were exiled from the land, which left only the tribes in Judah kingdom to carry on Abraham. So they were exiled. It left only the tribe of Judah. So the tribes were in exile. The exile. So 12 tribes disappear in exile. They run away. They went to hide. The exile, it means that you had to go undercover, right? And so therefore, one tribe was not undercover. That was Judah. And keep in mind, go back to where Judah is. Judah is the wish, right? The wish people. The today people. The genetic racism conquering. I said that. The people of Judah, called kingdom themselves, were told just now to carry the Abraham's heritage. The people of Judah's kingdom called themselves and were known to other nations as Yahadim, the wish people, a name still used today. Okay, so I will end that there, right? So as we listen and we heard what happened, these people, the 12 tribes went in exile. So therefore, they didn't die. They just went in exile. So if you go in exile, tribes, right? Tribes are people, thousands, millions, whatever, group, a lot. According to the people, gigantic, big. A shy in our language, a shy moon, just disappear. You are in exile, okay? However, the one tribe of people, who was the Judah people, they stayed. And they were always there, present all the time. Nobody came and hurt them or had them run away. They were there, right? Now, I beg to differ in this question. Why were they not taken too? Why didn't they go in exile too? If they came after, who came after them, right? Who came after them? Who ran them into exile? Why did the Judah tribe only didn't go into exile? All right, so let me go to another thing, because I'm coming up into, I want to wrap this up quickly into this. So we have the history of King Solomon, right? I want to just do a brief. Who is King Solomon? King Solomon was the second king of the ancient kingdom of Israel. King Solomon, right? Reigning in the middle of the 10th century BC. Solomon was the son of first King David, who carved out the kingdom that lay west of the Euphrates River. Now, remember, right? We spoke of the Euphrates River. And remember, I said we were going to come back to Solomon, the Solomon kingdom. Remember, right? Because David was Solomon's son, right? So, what's his name? Oh gosh, King Selassie. King Selassie. Okay? He came from the lineage of King Solomon. It is here. I didn't say it. It is here. He came from the Euphrates River and east of the Egyptian lands in parts of what is today Israel. Okay? It is what? Israel. So, Palestine, Syria, and Jordan, whereas David founded the empire. Now keep in mind, David was a hoe, okay? King David, King Solomon, they were hoes. Yeah, they were hoes. They were hoeing, okay? They were not men that kept their penis in their pants. Polygamists, let's put it like that. They were polygamists, and it was legal in that time. So they had wives. Now, they didn't, some of the wives, if you really listen to, if you do this research, some of these wives were black women, and some of these wives were Caucasian women. Because as you see Israel, as you see Ethiopia, eventually you saw it turned from black to white. If you speak to some people today, they'll tell you, Ethiopians are black people. White people, sorry. They're Caucasians, they're not. Even though their skin yellow, they're not even white. You can see that they're mixed. They are what you call mulattoes, but yet still they call them white. So how did that derive? How did that come to? How did mulattoes end up in Africa if it wasn't intermingling, sleeping with the powers that be of black people? It wasn't. It was the kings that was taken in, and if you listen to, if you go into King Solomon, it will explain to you what he was doing, and it was against the premise of who he was to do so. It was wrong for him to do so, because they even said when he did so, he fell because he did that. Because he was intermingling with women that he was not supposed to. He fell. And it wasn't, and it was not women that, he was not taking women. He didn't fall because these women were, because he didn't fall because these women were not spiritually aligned with him. He fell because these women were not genetically aligned with him. So I'm gonna have to end here. I'll start another one.